The story comes from originally Ovid's Metamorphoses. It's just one of the stories that Ovid tells, and it's picked up by Virgil in the Georgics. But the librettist Alessandro Striggio, who was commissioned by the Gonzaga brothers to write a libretto for Monteverdi, used mostly the Ovid story of the life and death of Orpheus.
The thing that is so revolutionary about Monteverdi's Orfeo is that Monteverdi really wanted to affect the way that people were feeling, that were listening and receiving the story. It was a move away from polyphony, where all the voices are singing at different times but the same text, because the text needed to be heard. It was important. So Striggio's text must be heard, and the reason it must be heard is because the themes are so strong. Love, death, just the stuff of what it is to be a human being.
The first time I dreamt up the production with Rob Jones, the designer, I brought Rob to Garsington and we had a look around, and it seemed to us the obvious thing, because the opera is set in a pastoral community of shepherds and nymphs, and also Orfeo is the sort of local celeb. It seemed sensible just to take the pastoral setting of Garsington and just leach it onto the stage, so that you really, as you go into the theatre, you don't really feel a significant difference between what you've been walking around in and what you're now watching a drama in.
The fantastic thing about this production is that all the musicians are on stage, singers and instrumentalists. So we've covered over the pit, there is no us and them, and that means we're able to make music, chamber music in the camera, and in so much as we've done that, I instructed everybody on day one that in fact there is no conductor. I'm the conductor in name only. We are all the conductor because we all have to own the internal rhythm. It has to come from our hearts. So that has meant that we've managed to engender with everybody this strong sense of company rhythm, so we all sing and play as one.
At the very beginning, when you have a young woman walking on stage who is the personification of music, she is called music and she announces herself as music, and I think that's such an imaginative way to start an opera, and it creates a sort of breathless hush in the auditorium while she asks for hush. But there are other wonderful moments. Orfeo's decision to go into the underworld and get Eurydice back, to not accept her death at face value. The wonderful entrance of the so-called messenger, the nymph who's a friend of Eurydice's, played in this production by Diana Montague. You hear her voice from afar off. In this production you hear it from the Garsington garden. And that absolutely chilling moment after what you've been watching for 40 minutes is just this gladsome, hilarious, wonderful sense of community, dancing, singing. A marriage takes place. And then suddenly it's all over. And what the opera is really about, it's about mortality, it's about how fleeting our life on this planet is. And suddenly that reality is injected into the drama in the most startling and beautiful way. And I think, not just me, I think for the whole audience, it will have to be a spine-tingling moment.
You get this wonderful sense of storytelling through music, and nothing is general, it's all very specific, and you're meant to feel the pain of Orfeo, you're meant to feel the joy at the end and the enlightenment and the realization that actually it's no good to mope around, you have to strive to be the best you can be.
One of the first things you notice when you're looking at the score of Orfeo is how often the singing stops and the orchestral music, the band takes over. So it struck me that it's a perfect opportunity for people to dance in those sections. So introducing 6 young dancers into the company just liberates us from having to be interesting in other ways during those intermissions.
It was fantastic that we all did a physical warm-up at the beginning of every day, which is not just to check that you can still see your toes, but actually was informing all the movement. And my partner came to the opening night and commented on the fact that for quite a while he couldn't tell that there were any singers at all, because they were all dancers. Until they opened their mouths, you really couldn't tell who was a dancer and who was a singer, and that, I think, is the spirit of what we're after, because we're all everything. The dancers have been, of course, helping everybody, and they've been a fantastic company themselves. So it really does feel like a wonderful collaborative effort that we've all achieved.
We are very blessed with this company. We're very blessed that Monteverdi wrote it with so many opportunities for solos, because it means that you can get an absolutely crack ensemble together, because they all know that they get their moment in the sun. Some of them 2, 3, 4, 5 moments, but they get to sing solos and duets all the way through. And it means they're not just a chorus, they are really a crack ensemble of first-rate singers of tomorrow.